Yo, what's up, wait, was that like an I haven't heard that in so long. Like,
Sorry, what?
I haven't heard ahoy in so long. It's been like ages.
Sorry, what are you talking about?
Did you say ahoy?
No.
Okay, well, I went crazy, but hey, you know what? It's episode number 84, the Unknown Games podcast, and we're happy to have you all here. If you're listening, or if you're watching on YouTube, welcome to the YouTube. We record every Monday here in Japan at 9 p.m. JST, which means it's like 8 a.m. If you're in the East Coast of the U.S. And then, of course, if you're listening through the normal methods of iTunes or Google, I was going to say Google Spotify, but that doesn't exist. Google Podcast.
Google Spotify, not yet.
I'm like the only one I feel like who uses Google Podcast.
That's your podcasting
that's
service? You use Google Podcast the most?
Yeah, I use Google Podcasting the most. I'm like, I don't think anyone else uses it, but I'm just so used to using it that it's really convenient for me. It's just it's on my phone, and I'm just like, hey,
is it on your phone by default or what?
I think you might have to. Someone might have to correct me on this. I believe it's on my phone by default, but it might not be.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it were. I would be surprised if it weren't. I mean, because I believe the podcasting app is on the phone, on iPhones by default. Maybe it's not. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, that voice that you just heard was my co-host, the game duck himself, the waterfowl that doesn't stop, that always wins, who just celebrated a B-Day, who's 1 year older. What's up?
Yeah, I'm 17 now, so.
Yeah,
I'm so close to legally drinking and voting. So,
but the real question is how long do waterfowls live? Are you past the limit of a waterfowl? Are you past?
Oh yeah, I'm on my last legs, dude. I could die tomorrow. It wouldn't matter.
Oh snap! Well, Alex, don't die. Who will I podcast with?
I don't know, because another duck.
it's like there's another.
Yeah. By the way, most
somewhere.
waterfowls don't live for very long. The longest I'm seeing right now is a Canadian goose at 24 years.
Well, you are Canadian, and you are not 24 years, so you got 7
like,
more.
What, five more years left to go. And
yeah, you're gonna make it. Yeah. You're gonna make it. And of course, my name is Adrian, and of course, as always, thank you all. Like I said, for watching, listening. And you can always follow us on our social medias at UGP_cast. And that's going to be on Instagram and Twitter. And of course, because I like to say, of course, apparently, you can follow us on our Twitch. Our Twitches, if you're watching, it's NinjaTrix, NinjaTrix for me. And then Route24, ROUTE 24. That's a 2W. No, that's a T4.
What are you talking about?
That's a 2-4. There we go. I'm all
like
switched
the number
up.
2 and then number 4, but
I'm all
together, so 24. Yeah.
Dude, the weather has been so crazy here today. I mean,
it's been bad. It's been bad today.
Japan we've entered like I guess the Suyu or the rainy season. I don't know if we've officially entered
Suyu just yet. Actually, it should be soon though.
It's usually what, June is when it happens. It's like the rainy season. And
by the way, fun fact about Japanese rainy season called Tsuyu, as Adrian just mentioned. Do you know the kanji for Tsuyu? Do you know what it's made of?
Is it plum rain?
Yeah, that's correct. The kanji for Tsuyu is plum and rain. Do you know why? Plum rain is rainy season?
Do plums grow apparently in June here in Japan or something? Is that I don't know why.
No, actually, I have no idea.
Oh wait, I thought you had like a wiki open or something. You're just gonna be like telling me.
I have no idea. But the kanji for Tsuyu is plum and rain. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you didn't know the kanji for Tsuyu and you just saw the word Tsuyu, I would mispronounce it so easily. I'd probably read it as like ume ame or something.
Ume ame or something. Yeah. There are some crazy words like in Japanese where you try to pronounce it. And the first time I kind of really learned this was like with places when I was riding the train. Is that when you put two characters together, it typically goes by a different reading.
Yeah, they change. Japanese. If you put two kanjis together, they usually change how they're pronounced. Yeah.
But when it comes to like names and places, it tends to not do the whole changing thing. It is the default
The
majority of the
first
time.
time, the first time you saw the kanji for Niigata, could you read it?
No, no.
Yeah, the first time I
Should I
saw the
just be like
kanji,
thankful for AKB or something for that one? I no, I couldn't read it.
you can. So the first time I saw the kanji for Niigata, I was like, what? What is that? Like, what is that place? But it's Niigata. It's Atashi. It's like new Shin.
Hmm.
So I would probably read it as like Shin something if I didn't know how to read Niigata.
It's strange. There's a lot of words like that, and I can't come up with them off the top of my head. But I mean, it's one of those things that you kind of absorb through living in Japan. Like the more you see it
Yeah,
or the more you
yeah.
hear
You
it,
just kind of get used to it.
you just kind
Yeah.
of get used to it. So if you
What's
are
up
looking,
to what's up to our good friend Ehe, our favorite podcaster. Ehe
there
has
you,
his own podcast by. Here's a free shout out, Ehe. Ehe has
I,
his own podcast called Virtually Talking. You can check him out on anchor.fm/ I think it's Virtually Talking. I don't even know.
it's virtually talking. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if they're on hiatus. I tried to pimp him one time on my stream, and he was like, "Oh wait, we're on hiatus right now." So you may,
Yeah, are you on high? Why? I haven't
I don't know.
heard
They might
anything.
be on
Or...
hiatus, but if you yeah, go check them out. Virtually
Yeah.
talking, and we want to hear your episodes
Yeah.
all the time.
If they're not
Anyways,
recording anymore, I guess you can just check out my
the
Twitch channel
backlog
instead. Yeah.
or our Twitch
Yeah,
channels.
my yeah.
One of the two or the three.
Anyways, let's get started. Let's do it. Sorry.
There we go. I've been summoned to just go ahead and get us started. I don't think we've been playing any games. I've been playing Crash Bandicoot, which gives me sweats, hives,
You've been
nerves,
playing any?
anxiety.
I've okay, sure.
I've
That's it. Just
played a
Crash.
little bit more of NieR Automata. I still haven't finished like the second ending. I don't know why I'm taking so long. Like I stopped playing it a little bit after Golden Week, where I played a lot of it, and I think I'm on like 60% of the side quests. So I think more unlock. I assume with the other playthroughs because there's no way there I'm getting 100. There's like 100% of this. There's more side quests as you go. I assume, right? Like
Um,
the third.
I don't know. Like, I don't. You can. You're more than welcome to do as many side quests as you
I
want. Like,
love the
something. Go
side
ahead.
quests. I love the
Yeah,
stories.
go ahead
They're
and do
amazing.
them. I can't remember if you. I honestly can't remember if there's any side quests in Route C onwards, and I mean, I can't tell you why, but
Right, right,
like,
right. I
yeah.
assume that they're because the people you be interacting with shouldn't, in theory, either A, be there or are the same, like completely. Just like 'cause you're playing a completely different character that you do run into, and then
I
after that,
like.
there's two more. Like I feel like that's what's happening. So that's why I want to like finish them up now.
I just don't recall doing side quests in Route C onwards. I'm that partially could have been just because I was so engrossed in the story. Because I'm telling you, like Route C onwards is a
Well,
fucking roller coaster.
I assume that Route C is actually the main goes back to the main story. Like it's actually filling in like that main story along with the characters, like as a group, as opposed to just the first two that you meet.
Yeah,
And
I can't remember doing side quests in Route C onwards, and like I said, I think it's just because I mean you'll see it when you get to it, but like I was so engrossed in the story that I'm
mm,
like I'm getting the story done. Like I just have to play the story. So yeah.
yeah, and I'll probably keep playing some more. Like I said, I love those side quests. I mean, oh man, I love the songs. That's probably the best thing is once you finish a side quest, the songs that come after that kind of start playing once you finish it. Those are just I love those. Like I can't wait to finish the entire game and then just listen to the entire soundtrack from start to finish. That's how I always do. I always even with an anime or something, I have to finish all of the episodes before I can listen to the entire soundtrack.
The soundtrack is very, very unique. I would keep mental notes of what you're hearing each time you go through your routes.
Mm, mm. So that's all I've been playing. I mean, what about you? You're still on Dragon Quest,
I haven't
correct?
played Dragon Quest in a week. I know I
Okay.
started it on stream. It's my new stream RPG, and I'm trying to
Mm,
commit to it. I don't want to give up on Dragon Quest in the middle of it or in the middle of the game, especially because I'm supposed to do it for stream. But I've been preoccupied for stream games. I've been playing that in 14,
okay.
and I wanted to just get a bunch of 14 done. Um, but last week, actually, I ended up dedicating an entire stream to Apex. So I
Oh
just
yeah,
played.
dude, that Apex
Yeah,
stream was hype, man. Man, it
yeah.
was fun. It was fun. I know you were playing arenas still, and then of course some of the
Yeah.
BR, but mainly arenas the entire time. And I mean, I played some with Ehe and then M, and then a couple of my friends this weekend.
Yeah, Arenas is crazy. Arenas is fun. Sometimes I feel like my matchups are way better in Arenas than they are in Battle Royale. Like I feel like when I lose an Arenas
hmm
game, I know why we lost it. You know, I can justify like I can be like, oh, that
yeah,
guy. obviously was better. He was much better skilled. He was
They
really
were
good at sniper
better.
rifle. I can like
Hmm.
really see like, oh, we were outplayed. Basically, that's what happened. Like we were
Right,
outplayed in
right,
arenas,
right,
right? And I don't have any like. I'm not upset about it. Maybe I mean, sure, I'm like, I wanted to win, but I can see why we didn't win.
right.
But when it comes to battle royale, there's so many factors at play that I am more likely to be like, I should have won that fight when it comes to battle royale. I'm like,
Yeah,
our positioning was bad, or they had better equipment, like they landed in a better spot, they had better gear. Like, oh, he had a red shield, and I just needed 2 more bullets to kill him, or something like that.
yeah.
Um, and it's I think part of what makes battle royale so fun is just because of the randomness of how those encounters happen and the gear that you can get.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but at the same time, it's also what I find frustrating with battle royales. But when it comes to arenas, I can truly justify. I can see. I can be like, yes, okay, we were clearly outplayed. You know, they were just the better team. You know, in the end of the at the end of the day.
That's true. That's true. And it's really. I mean, it's a lot of fun when you're playing with a squad of three,
Yeah.
because, like you said, you can really tell where you failed, and you can also tell where you like your team failed, right? Because you're all talking and communicating. And I was finding this weekend, my team personally, like we play defensive even in the battle royale mode, and uh, we've had to change our play style. We've had to get aggressive. My one friend who doesn't even play Octane, I was pointing him out. I was like, "Yo, man, sometimes we've been losing because these other teams have just been beating us to the punch. You know, they either get the resources
The
quicker,
materials, right?
the materials,
Yeah.
or
They
they
rush you.
rush us. They rush us,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
it's kind of interesting because I've been finding that there's been a team comp of Bangalores with
Mm-hmm.
Octanes,
Mm-hmm.
with either a Wraith or a Pathfinder. And
Sure.
it's an all out kind of rush team, and it is kind of hard to kind of defend against it. It's almost like a Zerg rush in StarCraft, where that first round, bam, they're gonna get you second round. Then it snowballs a little bit, but it is interesting that to see like how they're going to counter that in the future. If that's something that needs to be countered by the game in terms of them making different maps, because like for me, the maps are really good. I love artillery because you can play kind of defensive on that one a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
than party boat. Party boat is the hardest for us because it's hard to
Really.
deal with the second. So there's always two people that are going to be in front of you or to the side, and there's always a flanker.
I feel
Almost
like
always.
for me and my team that I play with, we have the easiest time on Party Boat because we are aggressive. Like we're naturally an aggressive team.
Hmm. Hmm.
So Party Boat plays well. We play really well on that map, I think.
Yeah, and I feel like it's the most strategic of the maps for me. And then like Phase Runner is similar to I don't know. It's not similar to artillery, but I feel like I can either you go portal and then it's
Yeah,
like, hey,
you just go the long way.
or
Yeah,
yeah. And if you go
yeah.
portal, it's an all out confrontation. And if not, then you're gonna end up going to them or they're gonna end up coming to you. And it's kind of like, okay, get positions and take up,
Mhm.
So it feels like those two maps for us are more manageable. But like you said, when it comes to rushing, we're not that type of team. So we've had to try to change our play style.
Yeah, I've noticed like we kind of adjust on the fly when we play arenas as well. So if the enemy team is playing in a certain way that is disrupting how we naturally play,
Hmm.
um we'll be like, okay guys, we have to change our guns. Like we can't go what we usually pick, like, okay, well, two of us are sniper right now or something like that. So
Right.
we'll try to change on the fly.
What
So
I was going to ask you, like, what guns are you kind of gravitating towards, like early rounds and then late rounds?
yeah, no, it's a good question. I depending on my mood, I'll do a white, like a single barrel, like just the white upgrade,
Hmm.
RE45,
Okay. Okay.
and one battery, so it kind of
Okay.
just keeps me in that fight for a little longer.
Hmm.
Or if I'm, I don't know, it depends on the map. Usually I'll do this a party boat more. I'll do this party boat more often. I'll do a purple Mozambique.
Which wait, just only the purple Mozambique
There's a
for the
purple
start from the
Mozambique.
start. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cause I mean the Mozambique
It's
is
quick.
honestly it's not that bad. They buffed the 6 shots so it
Hmm.
holds six trigger pulls, and the purple bolt honestly gives it a pretty decent rate of fire.
I would say
Uh,
faster than. Would you
it's
say faster
faster
than
than the
Eva?
Eva. It's
Than
faster than the
Eva?
Eva.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And if you can surprise an enemy, like you can probably down them.
Yeah.
Especially with white, your blue shields or whatever. Yeah. So
Yeah. It's gonna come out faster because it's I think a pistol slash shotgun type.
Yeah.
So it does, like, I find myself, I've seen more streamers kind of using that as well early on, and even to the later rounds, just like having that purple Mozambique. It's pretty
I'll
cool, and I've
honestly,
tried
yeah,
it.
I'll start with a purple Mozambique, and then when we get materials, I'll do blue alternator, and then like a
Hmm.
white Mozambique, and then some like grenades. And then once we have around 1,300 materials, then I'll
Hmm.
do like either a blue or a purple 301, and then like a purple Mozambique. It's a really good sidearm. It's really fun to switch
It's
to
fun.
Mozambique. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
fun. For me, I found myself playing with starting out with either, well, actually, it's either a G7. It's not even a G7 anymore. I straight up go for the 30-30 and just put it on two to get the bruiser. Send a
yeah.
mag and
I'll
a
use it.
bruiser off
The
the start.
30-30 is like one of my backup weapons. If I have to fight defensively, I'll switch to 30-30.
Yeah, that's like my first one, and then after that, I'll either go G7 with a battery, and then I always get like one or two arc stars, if not a grenade. I
Yeah,
always have
archers are
at
good.
least two to
Yeah.
three, and I've been playing with Valk, so
Hmm.
her missiles, like, honestly, I've been able to do some fun stuff with just like, hey, I see them, they're gonna start rushing, put the missiles there, stun them, so my team can get something, and I'll also throw a grenade in there to kind of like further prevent anything else from happening or try to down them. And it's been good in combination with sniping and her mobility. I've been loving it. So
Yeah.
McDonald's style.
I usually play Octane for the stims, or I'll do
Hmm.
Revenant just for his crab walk because he crouch walks really fast.
He does. I forgot. That's like
Yeah,
that's one of his, probably like maybe his best skill that no one
that no one
remembers.
remembers that he has. Like
You can,
you can crouch walk really fast with Rev. It's pretty weird. Every time I
yeah,
do it, I'm like, oh shit, he's fast. Yeah,
he's fast. I mean, and plus you do get you get a bonus when you're crouched. I believe there's a defensive bonus when you do crouch, and then you're also moving. So hey, you might as well.
yeah.
You're
You
a
can
harder
do like
target to hit.
a
Crazy, man.
the AD strafing, right? To
Yeah.
make yourself, yeah. So you can crouch AD strafe with
Hmm.
Revenant, and you're kind of hard to hit.
You're hard to
Maybe,
hit.
yeah.
I mean, he's a
That's fun.
he's a good legend. So I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll be playing more of that into the week and probably the entire season. This is honestly, if you haven't played Apex, it's a great time to get in. If you don't like battle royale, then go try the arenas mode. Like I said, a lot of people are really gotten kind of energized. It's brought a lot of life into the game. So
Yep.
we fully recommend
Yep.
it. What we're going to go into now is just kind of like a mini topic that we were kind of talking about earlier today, which was about the Nintendo Switch and whether or not we need a Switch HD, or do we just need to jump to an actual Switch 2?
So,
Like a
so the question is, should Nintendo do a pro version of their console like the PS4 Pro and the
right,
Xbox? Was it the Xbox? Shit.
what
Hold on. One X.
One X?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
So either
Was
like
it? Was it an X at the end? There were,
it was an Xbox One X because when the Series X was up for pre-order, people were accidentally buying the
oh,
One
that's
X,
right. They
right?
were buying the One X.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So the question is, should Nintendo do a mid-cycle refresh like Sony and Microsoft did, or should they jump the gun and not jump the gun? That's not the right phrase. Basically just move on to the next console gen.
Right, right.
I think
That's
it was. I remember reading an article somewhere where it was basically saying that like Nintendo doesn't give a shit about console gens. Like they don't care. Because if you remember, the Switch came out technically, the Switch was the first of its generation. The
mhm.
beating, it should be the same. What is it? It's technically the same gen as the PS5 and the Xbox Series One S and X.
Oh wait, if you think about it, yeah, that's weird because
Technically,
the
yeah,
Wii U is the PS4 and
right.
Xbox. Oh, ugh.
So very technically, if you want to look at gens, if you still
Mm,
believe in generations, the Switch is the same gen as the PS5 actually.
right, right.
But it came out so much earlier than the PS5
Hmm.
that people are saying like Nintendo doesn't give a shit about generations. Like you know what I
I
mean?
mean,
Like
if you look at them, they're always kind of like the last to do something in some sort of way. In this case, the Switch came out originally in 2017, March 2017, and we are
shit. Okay.
now,
Yeah.
that's 4 years.
Before the PS5 came out and then the Xbox Series X, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we're 4 years
So
into it.
so yeah, it's a weird situation if you're thinking of it in generations because is Nintendo really early to the party or are they significantly late to the party? Like,
Right.
would you consider the Switch to be on the same console gen as the PS4 instead, and not the PS5?
Right. Because in so many ways, the Switch was a correction on the Wii U, right? And
Yeah.
and yes, it does have better graphics. I mean, if we're going from a graphical standpoint, it is that, but uh, overall, it's. I mean, I feel like it's not a PS5, of course, and it's not an Xbox,
Right.
Series X, and at the same time, it's still not completely a PS4.
PS4, yeah,
You
either.
know,
Yeah, I mean, okay. So what constitutes a generation leap for you? Is it graphical hardware, or is it like the number of consoles that they've put out? Like technically, if Nintendo put out a new console tomorrow, would that kickstart the next generation immediately because it's their newest console? Like what is a generation?
I feel like the generation is kind of a universal. Um, at least what it's kind of felt like. It's been like this universal shift between all of the console makers, right? It's been two or more of them saying, okay, we're going to put out this whatever thing now that has a generational leap in the technology it has. That's what it's traditionally meant.
So you would consider it's a generation leap. So
Right.
maybe the PS5, it's not the number that kickstarts a gen, it's the tech.
It's the tech, yeah. Traditionally, it's always been the tech because with each tech, they have to sell that hardware somehow. Say like, hey, it either does this much better, it pushes this many more polygons, or in the case of the Wii, you can play the game in a different way you've never played before. It's always been some sort of gimmick attached with the console.
So would you say the Switch then in that regard is indeed on the level of the PS5 in turn generation, just because of what the Switch is? It's a portable console that's also dockable.
Yeah. I want to put it with the PS4, but going forward, if you think about it, I don't think that they would change anything up with the Switch itself to make it
In terms of features,
in
like
terms of features.
they're not gonna add a VR mode, for example, or anything like that.
Right, right. So in that case, yeah, it is for that lack of example. Yeah, it's like a PS4 and a PS5. It is this gen. Whatever they put out next, it will be
Okay,
this gen. I think maybe.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, I think it's important to preface like what is a generation, and then the discussion then is should Nintendo do a mid-cycle refresh like a PS4 Pro and stay in the gen, or should they do a Switch 2? And if they do, is that basically two Switches in a single generation, or is the Switch 2 now a
Like, do they discontinue the old Switch?
yeah, and
You
I
know,
think and I think it's a greater question of like where what gaming hardware should be from this point forward. I remember reading an article. I can't remember if it was Kotaku or something, but it was a couple years ago. But the point is people are saying now that this generation that we're in right now
hmm
could could be the last generation of consoles.
very well. I'm very,
Like we're
very, very
not like
well.
we're gonna get new consoles from Sony and Microsoft, but it's going to be more PC like in the sense that it's just slowly like getting better. You know what I mean? Like they'll do
Right.
another Xbox, but it's just like
I think
it'll play the same games, but it's just a better GPU. Then next year is the next, it's a better CPU, and it'll just
I
creep like
think
that.
like actually one of the things, and I think we saw this. I think it was with Razer's PC, where you could interchange the parts. That's
Yeah,
the
that was
the
a
Razer
while
one,
ago.
right?
That was a
It's a
couple years
while
ago.
ago, but
Yeah,
I
it was a proof of concept that never came
mhm.
to fruition. But yeah,
I almost feel like that could, in a sense, be your next console to an extent, right? They give you a pretty decent, a good CPU, and then they just let you swap out maybe a graphics card. I don't know if because it'd have to be
right.
built completely different, but I feel like that's more easy for the console gamer to kind of wrap their mind around and say, "Hey, I just want to
You
buy
just buy a
this
new
thing.
module, right? You buy a
Just
new
buy the new
CPU or something,
module,
right?
swap
I
it in and
think
out."
here's the thing. I think that could be an interesting direction for the gaming industry, the console gaming industry.
Right.
But I still believe at a certain point there will be a cutoff for old hardware. Like, for example, okay, let's say there's a game that comes out and they're like, okay, we need to account for our players having this spec of
hmm
the Xbox whatever, and also this spec of the Xbox whatever. I mean, that's already
Right.
happening now with the
That,
Xbox
that that's what
Series, the
happens. Yeah.
Series X and the Series X, right?
Right, right. It
S and the
happens.
X,
Yeah. And across all the platforms too. They have to
right?
develop for it.
So like they have to be like, okay, like our like user A will have this console and this user B will have this console and user B will have this console. Um, the idea of doing incremental upgrades is fine. I think it's good, and it could be an interesting direction. But they're I believe they're eventually after like 3, 4, 5 years, there'll be a point where developers will be like, we want to target this experience, and this module won't cut it, so we won't be able to support this game on this
Right.
module.
Right.
And
Right.
then at that point, when a bunch of developers, 4, 5, 10, everyone is just like, okay, we all agree our games will no longer, support, X module or whatever.
Hmm.
Then we basically see the another generation in a sense. You know what I mean? Like it'll
Right.
creep forward like that.
Right.
Because I could buy a GPU on for my PC that came out in 2010,
Hmm.
and I could
You might
probably play
still run
every
some stuff.
game. I could still play every game in my library.
Hmm.
Not well,
Not well, but you could. I mean, you could
but
play
I
it.
could. And I don't think, for example, like CD Projekt Red would be very happy with me like playing, Cyberpunk with a 11-year-old GPU, because I would be like, oh, Cyberpunk's a terrible game. This looks like garbage. And then, the first answer would be like, well,
What do you run it on?
yeah, we're not,
You know,
we didn't design this game for that card. So, it's not representative of the experience we targeted. So, you know what I mean?
and that's true, and that's where Nintendo has typically found themselves. Nintendo's always found themselves when it comes to the PlayStation and the Xbox, kind of in that graphical like, well, we would like to make it for your system, but it's not quite up to the snuff. And so we're just going to put it out on those things. That's what we develop for. And Nintendo's typically been in a position of, okay, well, we've got our first party titles and a couple of third
Yeah,
parties. And and
right.
and that was a situation with
For the
the
Wii
Wii. And the
and
Wii
maybe
was
the Wii
like
U.
selling, yeah. Well, Wii was selling gangbusters. Everyone would have been glad to put their game on that console. It was everywhere. Everyone had a Wii. They had a
Right, right,
huge
right.
install,
Sure,
market to sell to.
sure.
But
Right.
you couldn't put a Skyrim on a Wii, but now it's now to the point where the technology allows the Switch to at least have a PS3 like version of those games. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Or
Right.
stream them. So
Right.
I, I don't know what like I know we've seen it come up with Monster Hunter Rise. That's the main one. People have just been like,
Rise looks okay. To Capcom's credit, Rise looks
yeah,
pretty good on a Switch, and it runs. I don't know how well it
I
runs,
haven't
but
seen any issues with it running,
it
like when
runs
watching streams and
well
stuff.
enough. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But when you kind of talk to some of the other gamers, people are like, "Hey, I don't have a Switch," or maybe they do, but they're like, I'm gonna wait for the PC version. I'm gonna wait for
Hmm.
the other version just because I want to see it look a little bit better. I want it to run better. I want the online capabilities to be better. But you got to remember, like, Monster Hunter originally was a portable
A
series.
portable game. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's originally what it was.
Well,
And
technically PS2, but then
well,
portable.
technically
But yeah,
PS2, yeah, the very first one, true.
yeah, that no one played.
I
Yeah.
played a demo for that, and I was like, "What am I doing?" I had that dial-up adapter for
Yeah,
the
yeah. What
PS2,
this?
and I was like,
What
"What
is
am I
monster
doing?"
hunting? I don't understand. But
It
yeah,
was so strange. Um, but yeah, so you find Nintendo finds themselves in this situation often, but I think this console generation, the specs are good enough to where they actually have a really good balance of third party and first party titles for the first time in a long
yeah. It's a
time.
really good. It's a really good jump balance of first and third party. And like, I don't know. I guess the necessity of a Switch HD or a Switch 2 would depend on, I think at least, if Nintendo wants to continue to attract third-party developers. Because like,
Mm.
what if you do have a team like CD Projekt Red? This maybe isn't a good example. I know Witcher 3 is actually on the Switch, which is absolutely wild.
Yeah,
But
yeah, see,
like,
yeah, see, right, right.
but like, what if you have like a team that's just like, we are targeting, like, we have X vision for this game in mind, like open world, extremely high fidelity graphics, like really smooth frame rate or something.
Right,
Like, we
right,
want this experience, but the Switch, unfortunately, it's too difficult to develop for, in terms of, like, it won't bring our artistic vision to life. So therefore, we're gonna skip the Switch.
right, right.
And if you have like enough developers who are saying that, then sure, maybe that would necessitate uh, Nintendo to be like, okay, well, we'll do another Switch for you or something like that.
Mm.
But would it get to that point? Like, do you think developers, so like, let's say in 2, 3 years, it's 2024 or something like that.
Okay, okay.
Let's say it's 3 years later, and we're enjoying PS5 games. There's healthy stock. Everyone has a PS5 or whatever.
Right, right.
Um, do you think there's going to be developers, the big players, Activision, Bethesda, EA, are they going to be like, the Switch unfortunately is not powerful enough for the games that we want to make?
Yeah, I think 4 or 5 years down the line, 4 years later, like you're saying, because now we're in a unique situation where these newer consoles you can't find them, because of supply constraints, and they've already said that's going to last for another year. So I think in terms of the Switch, it's good for a year, but like you said, 3 years later or 4 years later, they're gonna something has I believe there's gonna be a Switch 2 at least by then, because like you said, and I do agree with you that developers right now, everyone is okay putting their stuff on the Switch how they can, but it's going to get to the point where, hey, I would Take Two and Grand Theft Auto 5, if that were something that could wait, Grand Theft Auto 6, we're on 6, right? We're on
Well,
6.
they
We're going to
keep
be
remaking five. They
we're,
keep
we're
remaking
going
five.
to
But
be
yeah,
on 6.
yeah.
We'll be on 6 because Nintendo has a good size of the market, because not only is the Switch a console, but it's also their
It's a port.
handheld,
It's
and
portable.
their
Yeah.
handhelds have always been. Who didn't have a 3DS? Who didn't have an Advance, a Game Boy? Everyone and
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
mama
Yeah.
had one of these things. So it's almost a wasted opportunity for them to not be able to cash in on even a kind of a decent version of some of those really big games
Mm-hmm.
from Take Two or I don't know why I want to call them Cyberpunk, but CD Projekt Red. Those sorts of things. That's bigger than a Monster Hunter, arguably,
So
right?
you think Nintendo wants to hold on to that like market, and you're like, oh, you can definitely like buy the Switch because you can play Cyberpunk on it on the go. I mean, it's not on Switch, but like Witcher
Yeah,
3 or whatever, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and it would be nice if they could do it that it would be somewhat closer to the day and date. Because Witcher 3 is a much older game, and it came out on
Yeah,
Switch, and it's like, okay, cool, but who hasn't played it? Who doesn't have it yet? You know what I mean?
that's true. I think Witcher 3 on the Switch is a companion. I see it as a companion to the PC version because you can
Mm-hmm.
actually it's cross save compatible with the PC version, which is
Oh,
crazy.
that's
It's
what?
wild. It's wild.
That's
Yeah, it's
what?
wild. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
you can
magic
play.
tech.
You share your save with the PC version on Witcher 3. So you're like, oh, I'm traveling, but I don't want to give up my adventures as Geralt. And you're like, oh, good thing I'm the Switch version. But yeah,
That's that's that is we. I did not know that. That's
yeah,
cool though. That's cool. That takes the whole cross save and cross play, all of that stuff. Even that Sony was doing with the Vita, remember? Or
yeah,
trying to
yeah. It
do
was a
with the
good
Vita.
idea. I mean, I don't know. I wish it had. I wish the Vita didn't like die the way that it did. But yeah.
The Switch is the proof of concept. It's
So
everything.
here's the question: is like how many years does the Switch have left in it before developers are getting to the point where they're like, we need more, or Nintendo will just be like, okay, we're gonna make a new version. How many years does the current Switch have?
I say two.
So you're
I'm
thinking
I'm going
2023?
2023, like early 2023. And we see a reveal of something in 2022 maybe.
So Nintendo's just gonna put out a new console, and third-party developers will maintain the same support, or are you saying that's when third-party support will start waning because it's gonna be difficult to make Switch games? Sorry, Switch ports. I'm not counting Switch only games. I'm talking like third-party
Okay.
Switch ports. Yeah.
I think that's when we'll see it start to wane. I don't think it'll stop because they just have so much of the market, and we've seen it with games like Hades, and I'm sure there's some other games out there, but that did release on Switch first. They were on PC as well. It's kind of like Switch then PC. You know what I mean? Or Switch and PC, but then the consoles come later. Hades is coming to PS4. I think they said maybe this month, next month or something like that.
Yeah, and Among Us is hitting PS4 later.
Uh, but I feel like, yeah, I feel like for now they're good with that. Probably next year, and then the year after that for some of these. They're not
That's
indie
that's for
games, but they're,
that's for
they're
third
third
parties to
parties,
start waiting.
right?
But I think like Nintendo's first party support will continue to be obviously
Forever.
strong.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
that's
for
why you buy
Switch
their
only
console.
games, I think not just Nintendo games, but Switch only games continue to look really good.
Hmm.
Um, let's see what's like. Obviously, anything Nintendo doesn't count.
Well, like
Uh,
something even like Persona 5 Strikers. You
Persona 5
know,
Strikers, I think
that was
I don't
it's
own the Switch
PS.
version, but it's fine. I think like I don't know. I don't own it on Switch. I don't
I
know how
can't
it
remember if it
runs.
runs at 60 FPS.
I
Right?
think it's 30 on Switch.
That's 30 on Switch. Okay, okay.
Um,
Uh,
but I don't own it, so I'm not sure on
it,
that console. I mean, but I'm
okay.
talking like if you know a game called Ninja that looks fine on Switch. It plays fine, I think, on
Oh,
Switch. So
Ninjala.
Ninja, it's gung ho, right?
Yeah, I almost
That's
forgot
not a
about that.
Nintendo game, but it looks fine and it
Hmm.
plays fine. So that's a Switch only game. So I think if you have a game that's developed specifically for that console, that'll continue to be those will run well and look pretty good. I mean, it's 1080p, like it's not a 4K console,
Right,
but
right.
it's fine, really. Yeah.
And like I said, it's still at that point where even if even if third party major, well, no, like AAA titles, right? These huge AAA titles can't come to the Switch because it's just, hey, you guys, we need you to upgrade the hardware or give us something better. They still have all the support they've ever had from any time they've ever had someone make something for the handheld developed for the 3DS, right? Those
Hmm.
developers, they didn't go anywhere. They're still making the same, they're still making stuff for it. You know what I mean? They still
Yeah,
have
I
a
feel like
healthy supply.
yeah, and for example, if, Shin Megami Tensei 4 was a 3DS game, but Shin Megami
Hmm.
Tensei 5 is a Switch game because that's the natural progression
Right.
of obviously, it's not that's not completely fair to say because Nintendo killed the 3DS. There's no
There is
option
no,
anymore.
yeah, there's no option anymore. It's
Uh,
gone.
Pokemon is a good example of this. Pokemon is traditionally handheld only. All the mainline games have been handheld only,
Hmm.
but Sword and Shield is on the Switch because well, where else are they gonna put it on, right?
There's no more handheld consoles for them. You
So
know, that's
Nintendo
it.
has forced like certain developers' hand to be basically console only now. But yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, but so I guess to
to
kind
answer
of
your own
answer
question,
your own question,
what is more likely to happen? A mid-cycle upgrade to better compete with the PS5 or a full-on new console?
some parts of me are almost saying like, would they just be the same thing? Is the is their mid cycle refresh just the two? And we get to this like you were saying, you only have so much you can kind of do within each generation, right? And so they're just incrementally doing it, and it's not really increment for them. It's actually the brand new Switch 2. For us, it's an increment. For them, it's the whole new thing.
If they do a Switch 2, do you think all the Switch games, like Switch 1, for example, I'm sure Switch 1 games will run on a Switch 2, but you
Mm-hmm.
assume there'll be Switch 2 only games? Like it's not going to be like a
Oh,
Xbox.
that would be weird. That would be weird because
Um,
that would be something like, whoa, what would that be?
because if they make them compatible like with the Switch 1, then that's not a new console, I would say. That's a mid-cycle upgrade, right?
Mm,
Because
mm.
this game runs, for example, this game runs on both the Switch 1 and the Switch 2. It doesn't,
What
you get a worse experience, maybe on the Switch 1, but you can still play this.
on the?
I don't know. I mean, like,
I mean, because we got the
do you remember
360. I
when
mean,
the
we
Game
got
Boy
the
Color?
Xbox.
Do you
Oh,
remember when the
the
Game Boy Color came out?
and it played Game Boy games in quote quote color.
So yeah, when the Game Boy Color came out, there was a bunch of games. There was a bunch of games that came out that would play on the older Game Boys in black and white.
Right, right. I actually kind
But
of like
if
those
you
too.
but if you put these games in a Game Boy Color, you would now get the game in color. It'd have a color palette.
Mm, yeah, yeah, and you could kind of choose
And we
your
had a couple
palettes.
of those games, and there was these weird mid-generation games. You could play
Hmm.
them on a Game Boy, and you could also play them on Game Boy Color. You would just get more features on a Game Boy Color. But if you didn't own a Game Boy Color, don't sweat it. You can still play this video game. For example, this is Pokemon Gold and Silver. Actually, you can play Gold and Silver on an OG Game Boy,
Hmm.
right? No problem. But eventually, there it started to be Game Boy Color only games. The shape of the cartridge was different. That's to discourage anyone from attempting to put it in a regular Game Boy.
Hmm.
And then after that, from that point on, Game Boy Color games were just meant for the Game Boy Color. You couldn't play them on the old Game Boy. So I think maybe that might be a thing where for a time we would have these weird mid-generation video games that would run on you know
Which
both
is
versions of the hardware.
where we are kind of now with the PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X, and that kind of thing. We're in cross gen, as they say. We're transitioning a little bit. Uh, yeah. And there is also one thing now because Nintendo does every console they've done. It's always been something strange and different and weird. And we could just say there should inevitably just be the Switch 2. I don't know if we can say that the Switch 2 wouldn't do something weird, as in like have VR. Like you said, doesn't seem like they
Yeah.
would, but
Yeah, Nintendo's always. I feel like Nintendo has only done a new gen when they can justify it with a killer feature.
with a killer feature, right?
And the Switch is killer feature is a
It's
hell of a killer feature, right?
it's just
It's portable, but it's also not portable. It's your home console, but it's also the console on the go. You just pull it out, and there it is. You're playing already, right?
right, right.
I know, like the Switch is also like in a sense it's instant. Like you still don't own a Switch, right? I forget. You
I
didn't buy
still
one,
yeah,
right?
I still don't have one, and
Yeah, it's
that's yeah,
instant. You could be playing the game in handheld mode and you just drop it in the dock and it's just on your TV just like that. Or opposite, you're playing on the TV and you're like, "Oh, I gotta go." You can just rip it out and then now it's just playing on the handheld. It's like a 2 second delay or something, and it just switches like it
which is insane,
instantly,
insane.
which is really cool. So that's the killer feature of the Switch. If Nintendo needs to justify like new console generations with new features, what would the Switch 2
Hey,
bring? Because the
V
Wii was motion controls, the Wii U was a tablet, the Switch is the Switch.
is the Switch. Like
What would they need to
what can
justify a
they?
new console generation for?
That's the thing. I don't think that they can really justify it with. Well, let's see. Hold up. The only thing that comes to my mind is VR, and we had those kind of what was that? The
The
Labo
Nintendo Labo things or
Labo thing
whatever.
that was
Yeah, which
kind
is
of
basically just putting a screen, literally putting the Switch to your
to
eyes,
your
and
eyes, burning
which
your
is I
eyes
believe it's like
out.
a it's kind of a ghetto VR experience. You have a Quest 2 now, so you know what VR is like, right?
Right, right.
Just imagine the resolution of a Switch, which is what 720p for both your
Split.
eyes, so it's like
Oh,
half of that
oh,
per one eye with a 60 hertz
oh
refresh
no,
rate.
that
So
would make me
like,
dizzy. That would hurt my eyes. Like that's like
yeah, yeah,
looking at
yeah,
a pixel.
it's pretty low res per eye, right? So yeah,
Oh
but
man. I mean,
um,
yeah. I mean, what do you think that they could add that would
I don't know. That's the
physically
thing. Like,
be?
and I
Oh wait,
yeah,
well,
and that
hey, number one, hold up. We have to address they fixed the Joy Cons.
sure, okay, fine.
That's
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 not even like a
that's
feature
it.
on the
That's
back of the
it.
box. Like, hey,
They
Joy
fixed the
Cons
Joy
work now.
Cons. Joy Cons
Yeah,
work now.
yeah. No, that's the thing, and I think that's the charm of the Nintendo is that they surprise. They always surprise us. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. They always
Nobody would
surprise
have.
us.
Like, I didn't expect a fucking tablet for the Wii U, and I don't think I needed it. But still, like, I don't
No,
think I
yeah, no one would
expected.
have thought that a 3DS, as successful as it was, would be gone.
Yeah, with the
Gone.
two screens and the DS was the two screens, and the 3DS was the 3D.
Yeah,
Um, Speaking of which, by the way, I actually always turn off 3D because I don't care. But
I
yeah,
did too. It was fun to kind of turn the slider on at first and see what it looked like, and then turn it
you're
off.
like, whoa, crazy, it's 3D. But yeah, then I would always just turn it off. Um, I don't know, dude. Like, that's the thing about Nintendo is that they surprise, which is what makes them so
What if they
unique.
went
But
back to
like,
that crazy concept?
what was you saying? The Switch 2 was
3D
3D?
has a
I
3D
would,
slider on it.
I
It's a
don't think
Switch
for
2
sure.
3D.
Whatever. Yeah, I
Switch
don't
3D.
do it. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the reason. I can't guess because I don't work at Nintendo. You know what I mean? Like I don't have the Nintendo magic to like surprise. But like I would say sure 3D on the tablet. Why not? Or I don't know. Not VR, but AR maybe.
AR stuff. You know what would be
Yeah.
really crazy is if
Put a camera in it and then have it facilitate AR experiences.
that I mean with the way that they, kind of have Pokemon Go and
Sure.
then what's the other one that's coming out from Niantic? Crap, I forgot.
Pikmin. Yeah,
Pikmin,
Pikmin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that, like having it to where you always were able to carry your 3DS with you on the street, and some people can carry their their Switch on a
Switch.
train or on a on the street. I would be afraid to drop it, but hey, having like you said, have kind of like those AR capabilities. Maybe there's I don't know, I don't want to say 5G inside of it, but maybe there's a mobile, you know,
Like a modem,
uh,
wireless
right,
modem, so like
a
4G
wireless
or
modem.
5G. Yeah.
I mean, the PSP had it. No, well, the Vita
Certain
had it for
models
sure.
of the PS, the Vita
The
had it.
the
Certain
Vita
models
had it,
of the
yeah,
Vita had it. Not all the models of the Vita had it, but the PSP had didn't have it. In Japan though, you could get a GPS module for it for some weird ass
for
reason. But
some
yeah.
reason, just in case you wanted to use it
Yeah,
as
I
your
remember I
phone.
went to a book off and I remember seeing the maps on the PSP.
Yeah, you could. I think you could download them and everything.
Well, it was like a game. It was a UMD put in your PSP, and you're like, hey, you have a map now on your console. I'm like,
Spin
why
it,
though? But why?
spin
I
it.
don't whatever. Yeah.
Why? I mean, I guess the other thing would be a different form factor, either bigger, smaller. Sometimes maybe it has one of those foldable OLED
Yeah.
screens on it or
A
something
four
like it.
LED. Yeah.
So it's more of a clamshell design, so you can take it.
Yeah, I think that's a unique or that's an interesting like guess, but I just always feel like Nintendo does this thing where they just maximize the use of widely available hardware. They've never really been cutting edge, in a
Right,
sense. I
right.
mean, I guess you could argue the 3D at the time was super novel and no one was doing it, but um, like why was the Wii under spec compared to the PS3? Like the Wii was like a little bit above an Xbox in terms of power, but it was nowhere near Xbox 360 level, right?
Right, right. I
And
mean,
they
the
did
Wii
that,
is
I think, just because the parts were more widely available. They were cheaper at the time. You could make the console for cheaper. It could cost the consumer less money, right?
they do always typically make money on their hardware. For I mean, for that reason, Nintendo always typically makes money on their hardware. Anything they sell, they're getting it back. They're getting that money back. So I don't know. Honestly, at this point, give me a two. I can wait a little bit longer. There's still a lot of games on the Switch, but there's not enough to where I'm just like, oh my goodness, I have completely missed out. I don't feel like I've missed out.
On any game, period. Like
Well, I
they're
mean,
like,
like
oh,
there's not like a landslide of them that I'm just like I can't resist it. I
you
can't
have to buy
like
a Switch
I
for
have
that.
right,
So
right.
are you just gonna wait for a PC or a PC version of Rise, or you're like, oh, I still
I
want to
mean,
play it now?
at this point, I'm waiting for the PC version of Rise and a Switch HD two. I just make the two.
Here's one thing that I think that would extend the life cycle of the Switch. It would basically be a mid-cycle upgrade, I think.
Bigger battery,
But if they were able to utilize NVIDIA's DLSS, like machine learning,
so they have
super sampling.
more pixels on the screen without actually having more pixels.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know what DLSS is, it's a NVIDIA technology that is available on 20 and 30 series graphics cards if you
Hmm.
have one or can get one even. But what it allows you, what it does is that it uses AI to basically up-res your image. So you're internally rendering a video game at, for example, 1080p, so which is much easier to run on your hardware. It doesn't tax your GPU as much. Your
Hmm.
computer really won't break a sweat rendering a 1080p video game like at that resolution, right?
Right,
But what the AI will do is that it'll just basically upscale it up to 1440p or even 4K. And DLSS in its current generation, I think, is doing a pretty good job. If you want to go look it up on YouTube, there's a lot of comparison videos. But compared to a native 4K resolution image versus an upsampled DLSS uh, image, sometimes they're really, 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 really close.
right.
It's not quite the quality of native 4K, granted,
Hmm.
but you're basically running the game at 1080p as opposed to native 4K, which is much easier to run on your GPU. So you can basically run at a higher frame rate. Or if you're streaming, for example, and you need more horsepower to run your stream, like this is really good for streamers. So what Nintendo could do if they could utilize DLSS is basically have the console internally render at 720p, which is what their games do a lot of the time anyways.
Right.
And then it could be, on paper, it could be upscaled to 4K. It looks like it's 4K
It
on
looks
your
like
TV, but your Switch is just running it at 720p.
I think that could be a good thing. Honestly, that would be really hype if they did something like that for their um for the non handheld mode, like you said, since it does use more. I guess is there a processor in that?
In the GPU that allows
It
it, I think it's a special core that the 20 and the 30 series has, because there's a reason why the 10 series and older can't do it. It
can't
just
do it.
doesn't have the physical hardware for it. But yeah,
Okay, okay,
so if Nintendo can utilize that and use DLSS, they could do a mid-cycle upgrade and be like our console outputs at 4K, but it's not like significantly more expensive hardware.
that would be nice. I guess we'll find out, and we'll find out anything first of all at E3 next month.
Soon, yeah.
June
Nintendo doesn't
17th.
do an E3 thing, but they do
Well,
like direct usually,
they'll
right?
do their direct. They'll have a
Yeah,
direct. Sony will have a
yeah.
direct, and Microsoft will have their. I know there's a couple of the major third parties that have already confirmed, but we'll
Hmm.
do a show on that as well, and hopefully we get some good news out of it. Elden Ring for people who
Oh
still
my god, I
hoping.
forgot about that game. Yeah, is the game even real? Like I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, R. Martin
Oh yeah.
Miyazaki.
Oh, you know what he should do? I was talking about this.
He should finish Game of Thrones.
I was talking about this like last night, I believe. But like, so the first Game of Thrones book came out in '96, I believe.
Hmm.
'96, right? We were joking like me and we were playing Apex, but we were joking like imagine falling into a coma and say in like the year 2002 or something like that, right?
Right.
Waking up in 2021 and being like, "Oh my god, oh I can't go with an Converse for 20 years, but at least I can finally finish the
Game of
Game of Thrones books. I
Thrones.
can't wait to read the ending."
There was I forgot what I was watching something, and that was actually what happened. This person went to, I think it was basically the equivalency of the underworld, and they needed to get through, and then like the guards, they were like, "Well, can you tell us? Like, we're all really curious about one thing, and we'll let you through if you can tell us this. Like, what happened at the end of Game of Thrones?" Because
In the
they
books,
died.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, because they
yeah.
died in like season 4 or something on the TV show, and they're like, I don't know, how did it end? And that's all they wanted to know. And I was like, it didn't. It didn't. Gosh,
That's
have
so.
you seen Game of Thrones? Have you seen it?
I've seen like 2 episodes of it, but I haven't
You should
like actually.
watch. You gotta watch it.
Yeah, everyone tells me that,
You should
but I
watch.
haven't. Yeah,
Even if the ending is bad for a lot of, I mean, it is actually a bad ending. I will not defend the ending, but going into
sure.
it knowing that the ending is bad, you can't just be like, oh my goodness, the ending was bad. Of course you knew it was bad. So I'm just like, it was an alright ending. I didn't have to wait 80 years to watch it.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, have you read the books though, or do you want to like, are you
I
gonna skip
don't.
the books?
I can't. I can read
Were you about to
comics.
say you can't
I
read? Were you
can
about to say you
read.
can't read?
No, I can read comic books. I can read
But
normal size
you
books.
can't read like words.
Have you seen a Game of Thrones book? Have you seen the font?
Yeah, I've
Have
seen
you
it. Yeah.
seen it? The Bible doesn't even get that. What is this thing?
The Bible doesn't even get that big. It's so funny.
Harry Potter isn't even that small. Like what? Nothing is that small. That is.
Go buy the Kindle version, dude, and just like make the text bigger.
You know what
You
I
have a
should
Kindle?
do? I should audio. Yeah, I do. I do.
Yeah, there you go. Go buy the Kindle version, or yeah,
I just want the
audiobook. No,
audiobook.
don't
I
do
just
that.
want the audiobook.
You'll fall asleep. You'll
I
fall
just want the
asleep.
audiobook. It's so what is really interesting because I did watch or I did read like the introduction. Amazon does have, you can try a sample of the book
Free like chapter
and
or something, right? Yeah.
they give you good chapters of it. And it's so interesting because I didn't realize that it's actually written the way that it is told in the series. So it's told each chapter is pretty much just divided into multiple characters and you
Hmm.
see and it writes from their points of view. And that's exactly how they do it in the HBO series. I just thought that's how they told the story. Anyways.
Yeah, and the point is, imagine waking up in 20 years later and you're like, I can't wait. At least I could get to finish the Game of Thrones books, but only find out that nope.
You never will.
Oh, yeah,
You
but
never
you
will.
never will. Like, yeah, so that's what. So Elden Ring, like, just maybe, I don't know, finish Game of Thrones, maybe. Anyways, yeah.
So we're just gonna shotgun through the news for this week, not go over too much of anything. But Final Fantasy Endwalker had a bunch of stuff that was done at
Yeah,
the Digital
the
Fan
final
Festival.
trailer. Yeah, it
Mm-hmm,
was really good.
mm-hmm. Square Enix, thanks for posting this on your blog about the 11 things that they unveiled today or at that time for the festival. But Endwalker is going to release on November 23rd, so you can play it and turn up and have fun. There's apparently a rad new theme song. I didn't know that was a thing, but hey,
Um,
you
well,
you,
sure.
you
I
like
think
the old.
they changed the title screen every expansion. So yeah,
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice of
yeah,
them. You'll be able to play a new job, which is the Reaper.
yeah. I'm actually pretty pumped for Reaper. It looks pretty sick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean all the news like actually is pretty cool looking, honestly.
yeah. I'm pretty pumped for Reaper. I think it looks pretty badass.
And
Yeah,
the male him. Let me say this right.
the Vieira.
Vieira.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, male Vieira. Apparently, there are already females in the game, but
So the thing
now
about Vieira is that Vieira was a female only race. If you've ever played FF 12, you know like the Vieira, they're all female, right?
right.
So the fact that now they're like surprised male Vieira, it's like kind of a big deal, I guess, because
Yo,
previously
the
were
Yo, the girls
Previously
is
female only, but yeah. So if you want to be a sexy bunny, now you can do it.
I'm not gonna lie, this dude looks like he means business. And then when you put it right here, I'm like, Grand Blue ain't got nothing. Actually, it just
I kind of
reminds me
like
of Grand
I
Blue.
like him. I like
Yeah,
it.
he looks
Yeah,
good. He
I
looks. I
like
mean, they
it. Yeah,
look
he looks good.
really good.
He looks like a sexy bunny.
They look
That's
like a
really
sexy
what
bunny. Yeah, yeah. I
that's
mean,
really what it is. Yeah, they
fangirls
nailed.
are gonna be
Yeah,
on this. Like, girl, I'm telling you, you're gonna have like gonna
yeah.
have whole cafes for these
If you
dudes.
wanted to play as like a if you were like I'm tired of sexy female bunnies, I want male. There
Male
you go. Like
bunnies.
boom. Yeah, Square Enix has heard your prayers.
They got you covered. There's gonna be new areas. I think there's like two or three new areas.
Yeah,
And one of
yeah.
yeah, one is the
I
moon, of
mean,
course.
yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I think it's called Labyrinthos is one.
Yep.
It's an artificial training ground, so that's gonna have some.
Can't wait you go to the moon. God damn.
Yeah, they're taking the moon and the. Is this Mar? I can't even say the name. Mar, Lamentorium, Lamentorum. I
I'm not
Hey,
sure if it's Mare, Mare. I don't even know. I'm not sure, but
it's
yeah.
something. And then there's a new series city called the Old Shalar. Darn it! Why can't I Shalaran?
I think that's how you pronounce. I don't know. I haven't played 14 in a while, but yeah.
So that's cool. I mean, like all these are like new environments, and they do have a different kind of theme to each one of them. So that's nice, and you'll be able to take on the Maga Sisters.
Yeah,
Which,
I think I don't know if that's gonna be their first like raid because every expansion has it's a raid basically. So I don't know if this
mhm,
will be the first raid, but yeah.
that's cool. They're from Final Fantasy IV or the Summon from 10. But there is a Alliance raid series. I'm not really sure what this is. Myths of the Realm.
So alliance raids are the bigger 24-man raids, 24, 21, 24,
Oh,
right?
sweet.
So there's two types of raids in 14. There's the 8-man raids, which are the pretty difficult boss fights. They take like 15, 20, 30 minutes to complete.
Okay, okay.
And then there's alliance raids, which are just huge parties, like a lot of members join. They're not as difficult, but they're kind of fun just because the numbers are so big.
Huh.
Yep.
No, no, no. That sounds hype to me. And then there's a new tribe, the Loperites.
Yep. I don't know.
Loperites.
They look cute. Yeah, they look cute.
They're cute little bunnies. I mean, I guess they're
Yep.
bunnies. I don't know if they're bunnies, but hey, if the game gives us more bunnies, I'm fine with more bunnies. Give the bunnies up.
Yep.
And then for everyone who is in Australia or New Zealand, there's going to be a new data
That's a
center
big deal,
for
by the way,
Oceania. That
because
sounds really hype. That sounds, yeah.
I play with a lot of people in Australia,
Hmm.
actually. And they have to play on a Japanese server because it's the nearest one to them.
Right.
So this will be a pretty big deal to anyone that I play with in Australia, which is actually a lot of people. So congrats to you guys. You did it. You did it, guys.
You did it. You
You
made
got your
enough
own
of an
data center.
impact.
Yeah,
You made an
yeah,
impact. I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy because like when you look at Australia on the map in terms of like traveling to Australia from Japan, it's not that
yeah.
close. It's like an 11-hour
It's far.
flight.
It's far. It's really far.
It's
It's really far.
far.
Yep.
It's
It's really
far,
far.
but for some reason in the mind they make it seem like it's so much closer because like
I
sometimes they'll
think
take
here.
trips to
I don't
Australia
know.
in high school or something.
So here's why actually I thought it was closer as well is because at least from North America to Japan, it's going across the ocean like left to right,
Right, and it's
and
still 11 hours.
the time zones are so different, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
That you're like, oh, obviously it's so far because the time zones are so different. But with Australia and Japan, they're like on top of each other, so the
Right,
time zones
right.
are like way closer. The time zones are like 1 to 2 hours off, right?
Mhm.
Really,
Mhm.
really close time zones. But just because they're so far north and south, it's still like far as hell.
It's crazy. I
So
thought it was going to
yeah,
be cheaper. I looked up some plane tickets because I have a couple friends
yeah,
out there, and I was like, "Why is this 11 out? What? Nah, this is some
yeah,
mm-mm,
It's 11.
mm-mm."
So I mean, if I ever wanted to go to Australia, I should go visit while I still live in Japan. I mean, I'm probably gonna be in Japan for a while, but like at least it's 11 hours from Japan. But if I was gonna do the flight from Canada, like God help me, like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's so far.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I guess yeah, they're going to be doing some pre-order bonuses, and you get early access starting on
if
November
you
19th
yeah,
if you pre-order. That's nice. And there's some in-game items. You get an earring and I guess a minion. I'm not going to go into the specifics, but if you want to
just
pre-order,
some extra stuff.
get some
That
extras.
fucking collector's edition, that statue though looks pretty
That
badass.
looks. I mean, I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit, so it looks a little. Yeah, there you go. I got to say, they really did go all out on this collector's editions with the art that it's framed art. You get a little nice little kind of plushie, that statue. I guess it's a statue. It's not a figure. It looks bigger.
It is. It's gonna be like a statue, a small statue. So
Yeah,
they've done
small
this before
statue.
with their other expansions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be a big ass box, by the way. That's gonna be like big as my torso. It's a big box.
That's it.
So
I mean, it looks like a big box, and it's the artwork
yeah,
is beautiful. Looks like a mono
yeah,
mono did the art again, so
yep,
that's
yeah. He
nice.
does all the key kind of art for the series. So
Freelance and still making it big.
yep.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. There's more stuff that I definitely encourage you if you want to get into FF14. Alex is taking requests for people to join his party.
I mean, not really. I'm, but you can play 14. That's fun. Yeah. No, but legit, like honestly, if I kind of pimp the free trial a lot. But if you have a fresh account, like a brand new account,
Mhm.
the free trial is long as hell, by the way. It's completely like no strings attached. You don't have to pay a monthly fee or anything. You can level your character up to level 60, and you have
That's a
up until the end of the first expansion for story quests. You basically get to play the first expansion
for
for free,
free.
and
For
you don't
free.
have to pay a monthly fee at all. You can jump in and out as you please. So it's pretty
Pretty
chill for a
pretty
free trial.
for a free
Like,
trial, right? Right. That's like
yeah.
that is something new right there. Speaking of more new things, that's not really new. Discord is apparently now 6 years old. Happy birthday!
That's crazy. Actually, I was on Discord like
Yeah.
when it first started. I remember people like, "Oh, do you have Discord?" I'm like, "What the hell is a Discord?" But yeah, do you like the look? I know people on Reddit are pretty pissed about it.
I guess I should open up. Hold on, let me open up the actual story for this because so the new Discord bot. I think the little Discord bot's kind of
They
cute.
changed the
They changed
logo and
it. You know,
they changed the font a little bit. Yeah,
the purple is now called Blurple. I think
it's
now.
pretty. It's bluer. It's pretty
it,
blue. Yeah.
it's like it's like Google is naming this right now. Honestly, that's some Google stuff right there. Blurple. Okay,
Well, blue purple, but yeah,
blue
yeah.
purple
It's
blurple.
definitely more
Okay,
saturated.
it's more
Yeah.
saturated. It's more rounded, and then the colors. You know, they did make some more colors to go along with it: red, white, black, fuchsia, yellow, green, and blurple.
So some people really don't like the new font. It's not the logo that they hate, it's the font. Like
It's
scroll
the
up to
font.
the top of the article again
Oh,
and look at
the font
the
is kind of weird.
I gotta admit, it kind of threw me off. I remember when my app updated and I was like, what is wrong with this font? Why is it so fat? I don't
It
understand.
it does look kind of weird. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't really like. I'm not a fan of it. I like the design for the bot. I'm not a fan of
Yeah,
the
the new logo is fine. The font, I mean, I didn't like hate it. I don't love it, but give me like 3 more weeks and I'll be like, okay, whatever. It's just this, that, or it's
Yeah, I
Discord,
mean,
whatever. Yeah.
you won't really see it that much. Honestly, I do like the other one. I did like the gray colors more than this kind of dark,
The bluer kind of.
the dark blue
Oh, you mean
of the font of the.
the logo, right? Yeah.
Hmm. I'm more
Yeah.
a fan of the lighter stuff. So,
Yeah.
and then moving on with Discord, of course. I think before last week, sometime early last week, PlayStation announced that they are teaming up with Discord. They have invested, I guess, in a little bit of the company, a minority stake in the company, and now they are, together our teams are already hard at working connecting Discord with your social and gaming experience on PlayStation Network. And
That's
their goal,
so interesting because there's rumors that, Microsoft was talking to Discord, right?
they got Discord said no apparently, and now Sony's like, hey, starting earliest next year is what they're hoping for. They're hoping to bring the community experiences, allowing friends, groups, and communities to hang out, have fun, and communicate more easily while playing games together. Lord knows I'm tired of putting on two sets of headphones.
So here's a question:
I
why
do
do
that.
you talk to your friends on Discord and not through PlayStation parties?
So it happens when I'm doing something like Apex that's cross-platform,
Oh,
and
and not everyone's on a console. Okay.
not everyone's on a PC or a console. And I have to, I put in my headphones for the game audio. Now I have my capture card, so I don't have to worry about that. But before I had my capture card, it was like, okay, let me use Discord on a mobile device and
And then
then
you have to like
have
run two sets of headphones or something like
run two
that,
sets
right?
of head. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But now it's okay. You just use your capture card to get around that problem, or
Hmm.
what?
That's what I do. I use my capture card to get around it now.
For anyone who's interested who has a similar problem and you don't have a capture card or you don't stream, I remember seeing a product in Japan that was a tiny mixer, basically a handheld,
Ooh,
janky mixer. You plug one into your controller and you plug the other one into your phone, and then you plug your headphones into the end of this mixer and just basically mixes the two sources together. with a like a simple volume, like not panner, but like more phone versus more game or something like that.
Right, right.
And it's like $20 or something. Just grab one of those and there you go. But yeah,
There you go. So hopefully we'll see what that comes out to, and you know, that's fun stuff. I'm just gonna say, Guilty Gear Strive story trailer came out. Go check it out. Soul Bad Guy.
yeah.
Maybe his story is ending. That it literally says like this is the end of this
So bad guy.
storyline, and well, not him himself, but just the story of Soul Bad Guy. It all
I haven't
concludes.
been paying attention to what's his. Is he trying to find his wife still, or like what's the
I'm
like?
sure, I don't know. I don't know the story. I need someone to do an
But his
Epic
his
Kingdom
wife is
Hearts.
is it's justice though, right? Spoiler alert, it is justice, right?
I don't know. I need someone to do a Kingdom Hearts style breakdown for me. I'm sure it'll still be more easy to follow. I
I'm
gotta
pretty
really look it up.
sure his wife is Justice, who is the boss of the first game, like boss of Guilty Gear, and then his daughter is Dizzy, the boss of Guilty Gear X.
Well, I guess we'll heck we'll find out. We'll find out the story. Yeah, I played more of the beta this weekend and loved it.
Yeah, I mean it looks good.
Loved
It
it.
is good, isn't it? I didn't do anything
It's
this
good.
weekend.
It's good. It was great actually. I am that much more closer to actually looking into buying not
A
a
stick?
stick because I don't have enough room in my place to
Oh, you want
just
to get a
set a
pad? You
stick,
want to get a
but
pad?
getting a good pad and just being able
Yeah.
to do some better inputs. But finally, closing out on like a kind of dumb story. Apparently, this is interesting because this is from like 2018. I don't know why this story popped up on my Google feed, but
Oh, that's
in
funny.
in April of 2018, a 23-year-old university student in Shanghai uh, found some loopholes
Yeah.
for ordering a KFC online. And he found out that you could pay for the food using coupons in a KFC app, then use another app to redeem those same coupons. So
Okay.
he kept looping and just getting free food, getting free
That's
KFC.
off. What a smart. Oh my god, that's fun.
So
I
so
mean,
th- I was like,
oh,
hey, kudos to
yeah.
him.
Obviously a little bit of a loophole. If you had discovered that yourself, would you have taken advantage of it? Would you tell people about it, or would you just like, would you just
N-
use it, not tell anyone?
I would have used it a couple times, but this man did all the way through October and got about $9,000 worth of free
With the free chicken.
chicken. And his four friends that he told ordered about 1,400 to like $7,300 worth of chicken themselves. So KFC found out,
And they
sentenced
took them to
them.
court.
They took him to
Ah!
court. They took him to court.
And they
Sentenced
got charged with fraud. Oh man, that's so funny.
15 to 30 months in prison and to
For
pay.
free.
I love how the
I hope
fines are just like $155 to $930. Like,
I hope it's
what?
worth it. Yeah. Can you imagine being in prison for it? Like, and they're like, "Oh, what are you in for?" And they're like, stealing chicken."
Yeah,
Yeah.
stealing all the chicken that they could. I don't think that they should have gotten prison time for that. That's kind of
Maybe
harsh.
maybe just like a fine or something like that.
Maybe just a fine or something. I don't
It
know.
is it technically fraud, or is it just like abusing the system?
It's
You know what I mean?
yeah, it's abusing the system. I don't know if that's fraud, but I guess because they had told other people, maybe that's where it kind of crossed the line.
I don't. I'm not
I don't
a
know.
law expert, so I don't know.
Eh,
How to
eh,
rule it. But
eh. We need you to call into the show next week with your opinion. Let us know. You're the only no, you're the
oh,
only
because
lawyer.
he's a lawyer. Yeah.
Exactly.
Is it fraud?
Yeah. Is it fraud or not?
Because here's the thing. If you just basically if the system is built a little poorly and he's kind of just like
He's
he is
using the tools.
technically exploiting the system, but not quite doing anything wrong, is
Man, it
that
sounds like this happens all
fraud?
the time, every day in real life. So
Yeah.
it gets dark after that. I
Like
don't know.
it's definitely fraud if you like steal a credit card or something like that. But if it's just what I
He's
mean,
just
like I don't
using
know.
the yeah. He's just.
Anyways,
Anyways,
that's yeah.
that's gonna do it for us this week. That was like a fun show. Fun show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to close out with?
No, not. I am not horny. I am not horny.
All right.
Well, there we go. We learned that Alex is not horny. Great.
Yeah.
So you can follow us once again on our socials at UGP_cast, Twitter and Instagram. Go check it out. And also for the YouTube, follow, subscribe, I don't think you can do anything else on the YouTube. You can leave a like on the videos. There
Yeah,
you
you
go.
can like the video, leave a comment down below, let us know what you thought. Definitely go ahead, subscribe, and click the bell icon. So next time we go live, you'll definitely be notified, and you can come and hang out and chat and ask us questions live. And it'll be way more fun than checking out the podcast when it's not live.
There you go. And that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next week for episode number 85 of the Unknown Games podcast, where we talk about maybe chicken.
Really? Why?
This story has me wanting chicken.
All right, sure. Go for it, man. Go hard.
There we
All
go.
right.
Yep. There we go. Remember, you set the tone. Go play some games. Have some fun. Stay safe. You're probably already vaccinated, so.
Yeah, if you're in America or something like that, yeah. I don't know. All right, peace.
Peace.